Caminamos por las tierras de Berbería, con el ansia del corazón que al profeta quería. Dejamos atrás Las Vegas y el río, para buscar en el desierto el divino rocío. Oh Meca, ciudad de la paz y el consuelo, donde el alma se limpia y se mira en el cielo.
The idea was Sidi Abdullah's idea, who 36 years ago promised to Allah to become Muslim and go to Hajj on horseback like our ancestors did in the past. So I only met Sidi Abdullah properly about 6 years ago when we were translating a book together, and then by the end of the project he said to me, I have made this promise to Allah to do Hajj on horseback and I need to make it happen. So at the time I immediately said, I'm with you, I'll do it with you.
Los musulmanes europeos ven en Al-Ándalus una especie de paraíso perdido, una especie de riqueza perdida, y que ven en Al-Ándalus cuando fuimos importantes, cuando fuimos intelectualmente la punta del mundo, cuando el árabe era la lengua de conocimiento. Entonces yo creo que muchos musulmanes ven al-Ándalus con añoranza. Los musulmanes españoles nos sentimos herederos de Al-Ándalus. Nuestros ancestros fueron los que hicieron la mezquita de Córdoba o hicieron la Alhambra de Granada. No fueron otros, fueron nuestros ancestros. Entonces, nosotros como musulmanes españoles consideramos Al-Ándalus nuestros bisabuelos, nuestros antepasados. Sí.
We started first thing getting horses that were able to do this journey, pure Arabian endurance horses, from very specific lines of breeding, and immediately we started training. So we did 3 long trainings across Spain and Portugal in winter and summer to test ourselves, test our equipment, test the team, see if it worked properly. And then when time was coming closer, we were thinking of planning really the whole route throughout, but we started the whole planning process and it wasn't working. It looked impossible. So we started planning and then took the horses, saddled them, and started the journey towards Hajj. There's a team of 3 riders and 1 driver that drives the car and the horse box. Abu Shuaib is our support team. He drives the car, he's a great man, he's Moroccan, great cook, great person, great help. Tariq Rodriguez, who joined us about a month before we set off. And Abdallah Hernandez, who is a doctor in geography, is also the team leader, or the man who came up with the idea. It was really beautiful to see the impact that Islam had in the land in Spain, and seeing it as we were going up the country was really telling us that we were honoring our ancestors in this journey. We were reviving something that was lost a long time ago.
Habría que empezar, para comprender la historia de Al-Ándalus, comprendiendo que Al-Ándalus no es una ruptura, es algo aislado de la historia de España, sino que es una continuidad. La huella islámica está presente en España en multitud de elementos culturales. Queda en las costumbres, queda en la arquitectura, queda en los monumentos, en la historia, pero incluso en los pueblos quedan las acequias para regar, los huertos. Es imposible recorrer ni 100 kilómetros en España que no haya una ciudad, un pueblo, un elemento arquitectónico que nos recuerde al andaluz.
As soon as we entered France and then Italy, we left behind all the dirt paths and we entered a very industrial environment with motorways, and it was very dangerous, I would say, getting these trucks driving at 100 kilometers per hour by us on the horses on the side of the road. It was very scary. But then we relied more on people that we did in Spain, because in Spain we were camping in the countryside day in and day out. But once that was impossible because we were in big cities in the motorways, then we had to rely on equestrian centers. Grazie, grazie. We're just taking a break. We met this lady who wants to, she really wanted us to come here. She knows us from Facebook, and she saw us on the road. She wanted us to come to her stable, just to feed, just to give some water to the horses. So we're gonna take the opportunity to pray as well.
Sono arabo-iraniani.
Ah, ok.
Arabo-iraniani. Per endurance 60 anni.
Quanti?
60.
60, bene, io ne ho 79.
79?
È
Voi?
ancora a cavallo.
Complimento, complimento.
E vado ancora a cavallo, è per quello che sono qui.
Complimento.
That gave us an opportunity to get really close to everyone that hosted us. They had so many questions about us, many of which then said to us when they were greeting us off the premises that we had changed their opinion they had of Islam. They thought Islam was one thing, and after meeting us and hearing about our story, they realized it was something very different. So I think that gave an element of da'wah that we didn't expect in our trip. The beginning of the Balkans, as we enter Slovenia and Croatia, the first thing was very majestic. So you get to this place where you have the sea, the Adriatic Sea on your right, very beautiful, very windy as well, and the rocks on your left, and that's the whole coast of Croatia. But also we met with wonderful people in Croatia that really helped us. As we entered Bosnia, Bosnia was the first, what we can call Muslim country. We replaced the towers of the churches for the minarets of the mosques and the bells for the adhan. And so it was very beautiful to be able to be met by the Muslims. But when we saw the beginning of the Balkan Wars, or the effects of the Balkan Wars in the 90s, with bullets in buildings, and people that told us their stories of the Serbs attacking some of the villages.
لا لا ти си емир. Ти си vođa. Da bude po hajru. Selam alejkum. Selam alejkum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ti bude hajri.
Thank you. Hvala. I think a very beautiful moment of our Bosnia journey was crossing the Mostar Bridge, a bridge that was bombed during the war, destructed, and it was put back together, and we took our horses through there. So it was a beautiful moment especially for those who have seen that bridge being destroyed, and then later us going to do Hajj through that bridge.
Otra cosa será Bosnia-Herzegovina o Sanjak en Serbia, donde son unos musulmanes europeos con los que sí sentimos una cierta conexión, porque sí que vemos que son, al igual que nosotros, tienen esa doble realidad de ser europeos y musulmanes.
It really reaffirmed our intention to do Hajj through this land where the Muslims were for many centuries, Muslims that are European Muslims, so that one can say that Islam belongs fully to Europe because of these people. As we entered into Turkey, we entered through Edirne, which was an old Ottoman capital, and we were received then by the Turks as celebrities. This is the first time in a trip that we are welcomed by a nation.
Tabii hocam çok güzel ifade ettiler. Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki el huccac vel ummar veftullah. Allah'ın hacılar, umreciler Allah'ın misafiridirler.
There's all these Turkish flags flying around, a reception with all the horses that came and received us in a bridge into the city. It was very beautiful as well, because from that point we were going to follow the Ottoman route to Hajj. It meant that we were also renewing, not only for us, the Andalusians, but also renewing for them their tradition. And they took us to a place, kind of like a dome, outside the city, where in the past the pilgrims would go there to get the imam or the alim to make du'as for them on the way to Hajj. So reconnecting also to Ottoman history and reviving these traditions was also a very important part of our trip. Breakfast? Iftar
No
or?
iftar. Iftar nedir? Breakfast.
Breakfast, suhoor.
Yes,
Suhoor,
breakfast burada.
suhoor, 5 o'clock.
Tamam. Together.
No match.
Suhoor as
Okay.
well? Bismillah.
Burada gelecek coming.
Tomorrow.
Bugün, today.
What time?
We're here by the mosque, invited by the Muslims in the village. They've come to pick us up from the caravan and invited us for suhoor. So, Bismillah, let's see.
A very important element of Turkey for us was that we started riding in Turkey the first day of Ramadan. And that also gave us a whole layer of hospitality that we didn't expect. We didn't break fast, no, we did suhoor ever alone. So suhoor was given to us by the locals, by the police. It was wonderful. We crossed the whole of Turkey, following as much as we could the old Ottoman route to Istanbul, and then to Eskişehir, Kütahya, all the way to Konya, where we did Eid. By Maulana Rumi's tomb, we went to visit as well, and we had a big reception in Konya. We were allowed to get with our horses all the way to the tomb of Maulana Rumi. So it was we were very honored by this gesture that the local government had done for us. So immediately after Turkey, we entered Syria. بارك الله فيك.
اهلا وطعتم سهلا.
جزاك الله خير.
حجاج بيت الله.
بارك الله فيك. حيا الله يا شباب.
هم منطلقون باتجاه
Syria wasn't in our plans, because when we left, the Assad regime was still in place. So we had all the plans to surround Syria. But as we were approaching Syria, there were openings for us. Some friends from Syria promised to us that we have full protection in Syria, and that was a safe place. So only 3.5 months after the fall of the Assad regime, we entered Syria. And we entered Syria like heroes.
أهلا وسهلا بكم في مهد الديانات، في مهد الحضارات، في مهد الأخلاق، في مهد الكرم، في بلد الأمان، سوريا العظيمة، سوريا الحرة.
There was hundreds of people, there were horses waiting for us, there was a whole entourage that followed us through the city. But in Syria we also saw the effects and the damages that war brought into the Syrian people. We saw war-torn cities, ghost towns, mosques that were bombed. Everyone in Syria had fought, everyone had lost family members. But also we found their generosity, we found their happiness. They said to us that we were the Spanish pilgrims, the HOH al-Isban, were the second biggest celebration they had. The first was the falling of the regime, and the second one is the coming of the Spanish pilgrims on horseback. So that honored us a lot. Al-Andalus and Syria have a strong link through the Umayyad period. So they called us grandchildren. We said, we are your grandparents. It was very funny. هل ممكن يأخذ؟ No le gusta a usted una pistola, Gianella.
Este viaje no habría sido posible sin la ayuda de los hermanos musulmanes que nos hemos ido encontrando durante todo el viaje. Sin embargo, nos han donado dinero, nos han acogido, nos han dado de comer, han dado de comer a nuestros caballos, nos han regalado ropa, nos han abrigado, nos han dado calor. La hermandad musulmana es la que ha hecho posible este viaje. Pero incluso creo que Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nos manda a hacer el Hajj de esta forma, nos manda a hacer la peregrinación para poder convivir con los otros musulmanes, porque la baraka está en que nosotros vayamos y en que ellos nos reciban, y en ese intercambio, en esa conexión entre los musulmanes que van de viaje y que reciben a los viajeros.
ونعم الوكيل حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. So after a long winter, soon the spring came and the heat of the desert also. We had to adopt Middle Eastern turbans and cover our faces through the desert. Going through the desert was tough, especially because there's nothing other than sand. But there were a lot of people in the towns that we met, very generous. The Jordanians were extremely generous. We had these plates, these tables of food every 3-4 kilometers. We were forced to stop our journey, have breakfast or lunch with them and carry on. Bismillah, shukran. And of course, once you enter the desert dunes and you start galloping, we hadn't cantered in the whole journey. We started cantering in the desert just because it belonged to it. Oh! And also seeing the oasis in there and letting the horses drink from it, swimming. The change of climate was very epic.
Vaya coche de asistencia que tenemos ahora, ¿no?
Está guapo, ¿eh?
Alfalfa, agua. Parece que el coche es Jordano, ¿no?
Sí, ha cambiado, se ha transformado. El RAV4 se ha convertido en Hilux. When we left from Spain, we were 8,000 kilometers away. Every day it was a miracle because every small thing would have stopped the journey. Getting close to it, we realized after everything we had seen that we were not guests of a country, of a kingdom, we were guests of Allah. Because He had called us to do Hajj, we were responding to His invitation. And there was nothing on the way that stopped us. Even the most rigid modern structures, which are borders, had opened to us. So approaching, getting closer every day to Mecca was in a way an answer to our du'as. And once we entered the Haram of Mecca and we saw the Kaaba, all the difficulty, all the stress, all the distance had disappeared. And once we got to touch the Kaaba with our hands, there was no distance whatsoever. There was nothing between us and the Kaaba. We were fully united with it. And then you get pulled by the current of people doing tawaf, and then you're one more in the sahn, going around as Allah had commanded us, as the orbits of the universe turn around the pole. So we entered very grateful to Allah to have allowed us to complete this journey. Grateful that He had protected us throughout the way, and grateful to have allowed us to recover that tradition, that pilgrimage of going to do Hajj by land.
Históricamente, la Umma ha sido la comunidad islámica, por encima de las naciones. Eso no existía históricamente entre los musulmanes, pero es que incluso ahora nuestro viaje nos muestra que los musulmanes se sienten hermanos y se sienten uno, y de ese modo hemos podido hacer este viaje gracias a la ayuda recibida por todos los musulmanes desde España, Francia, Italia, y por supuesto en países de mayoría musulmana como Bosnia, Turquía, Siria, Jordania, etc. Pero siempre los musulmanes, antes y ahora, se han sentido unidos y en esa unidad, en esa hermandad islámica.
في فضل الخيل قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الخيل معقود في نواصيها الخير إلى يوم القيامة.
Estos caballos son caballos árabes de línea predominantemente iraní. Son unos caballos que llevaron desde Irán hasta España sus abuelos. La más vieja es esa, que se llama Yasira. Yasira tiene 14 años. Después está Jadira con 11, Paya con 9, bueno, esta Pachira 11 también, y la más joven es aquella que es Farida, que tiene 6 años. Y son todas de la misma ganadería, de la misma yeguada, que se llama La Cañada del Robledo y que está en Villamartín, Cádiz. Son unos caballos especialmente seleccionados por su carácter y por su carácter tranquilo y por su resistencia. Por eso son ideales para este viaje. Caballos árabes de trabajo, caballos árabes beduinos, no caballos de show, no caballos de espectáculo, no caballos de belleza. Son los verdaderos caballos árabes, son estos.
Our horses were the main characters of this story. They allowed us to get very close to people, because people feel a lot of sympathy for horses. So these random men on horses through cities, through towns, stood out immediately to people and allowed us to get very close to those who hosted us, to those who saw us on the trip. And we were able to talk to them about what we were doing, give them a different understanding of what they thought Islam was in comparison to what we embodied in our trip.
El caballo ha sido un instrumento de viaje, como ahora lo puede ser un vehículo. Hay que entender que el Islam tiene su origen en y que el profeta Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam era comerciante, viajero. Por tanto, viajar es muy importante para el Islam, porque viajando se extiende el Islam. Entonces, el caballo es el vehículo por el cual el Islam se ha extendido. Ha sido también un elemento de guerra. El tanque de la Edad Media, o hasta hace 100 años, poco más de 100 años, era el caballo. El caballo formaba un cuerpo militar que era la caballería. Por tanto, el caballo ha sido muy importante en la historia del Islam. El caballo es un animal que despierta simpatías por donde quiera que pase. La gente se volvía loca. Estos caballos han salido de aquí, desde España, desde Andalucía, y han llegado a Siria, a Jordania, a Arabia. El caballo es un vínculo que trasciende la religión, la cultura, la sociedad y el tiempo. Y quiero acabar diciendo que casi todas las grandes epopeyas de la historia, casi todos los grandes hechos de la historia, casi todos los grandes descubrimientos de la historia se han hecho a caballo. Todos los grandes personajes de la historia han ido a caballo. Y el caballo ha sido un elemento clave que ha escrito la historia de la humanidad.